Welcome back to another episode of the Girls Stop Playing podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Coriel, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. I am here to bring you the information and the conversations to help you make the money and get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And today we have a special business spotlight episode where I get to introduce you to a bomb Black-owned, woman-owned business and the brains behind that business, Letitia Stiles. So, Letitia is a speaker, author, coach, and online marketing certified professional. She's the founder and CEO of You've Got Clients. That's trademarked, y'all, so don't play with it, okay? She's the author of the forthcoming book, Assume the Throne, 4 Steps to Unlock Your True Identity and Power as a Leader. To her audience of over 88,000 subscribers, followers, and regular viewers, she provides tips, guidance, and insights on marketing, branding, content creation, mindset, and more. Her work has been featured in notable publications, including Forbes, Fast Company, and Business Insider. Letitia, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to be here. This is your first in-person talk show, because y'all know we are stepping into talk show and leaving podcasts behind. I got to work on my new intro, though. So in the meantime, we are claiming this to be a talk show. So welcome to the couch.
Oh, I love it. I'm glad to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you. I think the topic of today's conversation is going to be very helpful when it comes to mindset, dealing with limiting beliefs, dealing with imposter syndrome. 99.99999% of my audience is Black women, and a lot of us, I'm willing to even say like the majority of Black women, especially in the entrepreneur space, struggle a lot of times with self-worth and mindset, like really knowing your worth, and not only knowing it for yourself, but knowing it and believing in it so much that you're able to transfer that belief to other people.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's just take it back, though, because in doing my research for this conversation, one of the blogs on your website, I think, talked about you being a college dropout.
I actually graduated into the Great Recession.
Okay. So you put some respect on your name because you did graduate college.
I did twice.
Am I tripping?
So I had 2 degrees, but I couldn't get hired.
Got you. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So talk to us about that experience, because these days, the conversation is coming up, and I know you're a mom, so I do want to ask you about like your belief in college and like the path that you want to send your kids down. But with so many of us coming out of college with no opportunities, or with opportunities that did not add up to what they needed to add up for that debt to make sense, that's a big topic of conversation. So tell us about your experience.
Yeah, so honestly, when I graduated the very first time, I got a Spanish degree. So it was because
Girl, what was you gonna do? What was you gonna do with it? What was your, like, if everything had worked out, what would you have done with your Spanish degree?
I didn't know what I wanted to do with it.
Gotcha.
I still didn't know. I was forced to choose a major. So when I went to my counselor, she said, okay, you're coming up on your sophomore year. If you don't choose a major, you can't continue in college. So I said, okay, well, I guess I like Spanish, so I'm just gonna choose it. And I think that's kind of been a recurring theme in my life, which is I've never really fit into a box. I've never really fit into any sort of predetermined path, and I've always been essentially trying to choose my own path. So after I graduated with the Spanish degree, I just started working in retail because I was already in retail. So I ended up, working full time in retail, and ended up going back to school for a more traditional degree. So I went back to school for a master's of accounting and realized I didn't like accounting at all, but I enjoyed the finance class that I took. So I ended up getting a finance degree.
Got you.
So much better decision, not the right timing.
Okay.
And when I graduated, we were right in the middle of the Great Recession. I had a finance degree. I didn't have any work experience, and I ended up delivering sandwiches. So I was working at Jimmy John's. Actually, it's right down the road from here.
Wow.
Working at Jimmy John's, I was delivering sandwiches to buildings that I felt like I should be working there. And I always had this sense of there's something more for me to do. There's something more that's out there that's available for me, but I just didn't really quite know how to work it out. And I was living at home with my parents. I overheard my mom on the phone with a relative, and she said, I don't really know what Tisha's doing with her life. She's got 2 degrees, but she's not using either one of them. And
Mama so be telling our business on that phone, don't they? Oh, they used to grind my gears.
And it rocked me. It rocked me to my core because I said, I do have something to offer. I know what I'm doing, even though I'm not doing anything, like I can do something. And so that's what led me to starting a blog. I started a personal finance blog, which led to me starting to help business owners with content, which led to me doing what I do now, which is coaching and teaching as well.
Listen, okay, so I love it. Y'all, strike out what I said earlier. We're going to put some respect on her name. I apologize for that. But that is such a common, I'm going back to you saying you chose Spanish because you were kind of forced to choose a degree. That is such a common scenario for so many people. I have, friends and classmates that literally were forced to choose a degree and ended up with like interdisciplinary studies, or if it wasn't Spanish, it was English, and it's like, or social work, sociology. And I feel like the counselors, the staff, the people, at these higher education institutions are doing such a disservice to students by giving them half of the story. Like, you got to choose a major. What's the other half of the sentence?
Right.
But make sure you choose a major that
you can actually
that
do
you can
something
actually
with.
use. That's going to make sense for this debt that
or
you're
that
now
you know
in.
what you're gonna
That you have
use
a
it
plan for.
Right.
Anything. That's the end of the conversation. Is you have to choose a major. Here, pick from this list.
Exactly.
And so it's such an important decision that shouldn't be taken lightly, because aside from you just being young and not really knowing what you want to do, you are in, most of us go into debt behind these degrees.
Yeah, I had $65,000 worth of student loan debt.
For a Spanish degree.
For a Spanish degree, and then the rest of the finance degree that took me another year and a half to complete. And I, once again, got out. I couldn't find a job. And so it was like I had all of this debt. I also had credit card debt. I had a car loan. So I was just like lost for a while. And that's why I'm really glad that I went in the personal finance world, because I started learning more about money. And I eventually did get a job. So I got a job with a investment consulting firm, became an investment analyst, and then realized that I didn't really like finance. I didn't like the finance world. And I found my love in marketing and in the marketing world. So that's why I made my transition.
Okay. So you're in finance, or you studied finance, but I don't want to say struggling financially, but you're dealing with your own financial stuff.
Yeah, you can say it. I was struggling financially.
So how does that translate? Like, did you start the blog because you were learning things that you needed personally, and now you want to share that with other people? What was the motive behind the blog? Because that's kind of what started off this journey that you are on.
Yeah, so I started the blog mostly to teach what I had learned in college.
Okay.
And so I was talking about like stocks, just like really impersonal. And then I realized, like, one day I actually shared my story of the student loan debt that I had, and I got the most comments and the most responses. And I thought, oh, okay, well, people want to know about my money, not like how money works.
Not the theory behind it, but your personal,
So I started sharing more of my personal story. I started getting out of credit card debt. So as I was doing that, I was sharing a little bit more about that. I started getting picked up by, different outlets, media outlets, and got an opportunity to be in Business Insider because I finally decided to share what was happening with me. And I feel like a lot of people can relate when you are open about what you're going through, and you can share, that process and that journey, because I was struggling. Like, it wasn't a cute process. It was, it took me a lot of time and a lot of mental energy and effort to do that. But that process and what I learned during that, I'm able to take into, basically what I do now. And it's just it all goes into part of the journey. Yeah.
It's so funny that you say that, because that is the thing that people don't want to do, which is be vulnerable, be transparent, share their truth, put their business out there. That's the thing that starts to get you traction, starts to get you attention, starts to probably do the things that you set out to do anyway. You're just trying to like beat around the bush with how you're doing it, because you don't want nobody in your business. You don't want the spotlight on you. You don't want to be vulnerable. And that's really what it takes. It's you. I have a friend in media, and she says, she used to be the editor of Essence magazine, and she always says, like, people on the internet who want these features, you want to get picked up by XYZ publication, the reason you're not is because you're out here trying to keep it cute. Yep. What gets you picked up is you keeping it real. And that is, you're proof of that. It's like when I was trying to keep it cute, I'm just saying, hey, this is what you should do with your investments. Right. These are what the stocks are doing. take that. It's like, okay, the people are like, okay, that's cool. But when you start telling your business, the people are like, oh, this is
like,
not
what?
just it's juicy, but it's like, okay, she gets me. She's not perfect.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing too. A lot of times if you do have that buttoned up, everything is perfect vibe going, whether it's on social media or whatever, people think you can't relate to them. And it's like, well, I'm really struggling, so I don't want her to know my business because she's going to judge me, not knowing that you were in a similar situation. So for anybody out there that's building a brand, especially a personal brand, which everything we're doing now is a personal brand, being okay with being your true self, being vulnerable, because the people who really need you will be attracted to you when you are your true self. If you're out here faking, you're going to attract fake people who are not going to pay you. Okay, so let's talk about that. But before we get it off of the finance conversation, because I do have such a large, population of women that are tuned in, and we just can't seem to get our money together because we spending it all. I might be just talking about myself. Give just a couple of finance, I don't know, like little gems for the ladies of things that they could be doing, should be doing to better manage their money. Because we talk all the time about making money.
Yeah.
That's not it though. Once you make it, then what? What's step 2?
So I have to come at this from like the spiritual side, because money is spiritual. And so with this, I would say that you have to get really good at being okay with keeping money. So it's not just, a lot of times like we can make money, or we think that it's all about, I got to make more money, but we haven't grounded ourselves in a sense that we're worth keeping the money. And sometimes the spending habits and the buying extra things that put you in a financial position that you don't want to be in are more so about a feeling of, I don't deserve to keep the money. And so I guess that's really the only financial tip I can give.
That's interesting, because I feel like and y'all know I be telling all my little business on here. I feel like my thing is not I deserve to keep the money. It's I deserve to have that thing.
And you do.
Which is just as toxic of a belief.
I don't think it is, though. I feel like that's something you just have to lean into, because your resistance of it is what is the thing that's actually causing the problem. So if you lean into it and say, yes, I deserve to have it, and I can choose, do I want this thing now? Do I want it later? Do I want it, do I want to spend this much on it? So when you have to bring the power back to yourself, like, yes, I deserve to have it, and I can choose, do I have it now? Do I have it later? Do I have something that's, a little bit more expensive, a little bit less expensive? Do I get somebody else to pay for it? Because there's a lot of opportunities for that as well.
Come pay for it. Okay. Credit card debt.
Yeah.
Because you said you were in a little bit of credit card debt. We in some credit card debt because we be out here shopping, spending down. Okay. What is your personal philosophy on paying down debt?
So I feel like with personal credit card debt, which is what I was in, I had $22,000 worth of personal credit card debt just from buying this, that, the other, all sorts of things. That was more of a personal responsibility that I had to learn, that if there was something that I wanted, something that I desired, and it was an impulse that I just, I'm here at the store and, ooh, that looks good, let me go buy it. I had to cultivate a new responsibility of saying, okay, you didn't come here for that. So if that's something you want, you need to wait, make sure it's something you actually desire, then you can go back and get it. So that was kind of like the first realm of what I had to do. And then the second layer to that was, after I kind of got that spending under control, my next thing was, okay, if you want it, you can get it, but you have to use your debit card. You have to use
your
cash.
real money.
Exactly. And then I was like, I don't really want it right now, right? Yeah. So it was just kind of cultivating new habits for myself. And I will say business credit and business debt for a different conversation, because I feel like that's more leverage. That's more like investing in yourself, investing in your business. I'm really good at like making an investment and then flipping it, is what I call it. So that's different from like a personal credit card debt. And I feel like a lot of newer entrepreneurs, a lot of new business owners, they still have this concept of business debt is personal debt, and it's not. It's like the business is its own entity, and it has the job of recouping that investment, and so on and so forth. And then there's a personal spending discipline, personal spending habits that come in along with that.
We're just not going to be able to avoid discipline, right? Yeah. It's just no way around it. Okay. All right. Nobody wants to hear that, but okay. That's
the name of the game.
It's what it comes down to. And then you start having kids. And it's really a whole nother thing because my habit of, but I deserve that, turns into, but they deserve it. You know, it's like a trickle down. So I got to get it together before they're old enough to start asking for stuff.
Right.
And then I'm really in some trouble. And daddy really be out here looking for me. Okay, so I want to talk about high ticket coaching.
Yes.
Because that's your lane. And okay, so I know all about high ticket coaching, obviously, but for the sake of the conversation, define, what's your definition of high ticket coaching?
Yeah. So I feel like the word high ticket gets thrown around a lot. And some people believe that high ticket is, you know, $1,500, $3,000, $5,000. And it is. And at the same time, there's a level to pricing where what we're really going after is a premium product, a premium service, a luxury offering versus just high ticket. Because anybody can put a price on their services and say, oh, I have a high ticket program, I have a high ticket offer, whatever it is. But there's some services that don't come with the same service, the same luxury, the same feeling. And so therefore, it's just, you know, you put a different price on the same thing you were offering. So when it comes to high ticket pricing or high ticket offerings, I really like to think of it as a luxury, a premium offering that is specific for a specific client and that provides a specific transformation.
And what do you, what qualifies it as a high ticket? Like what dollar amount?
So it's going to be different. And the reason I say it's going to be different is because, number one, global community, right? So different people, different places, et cetera, et cetera. So if we're talking about U.S., in general, your high ticket offering is going to be anywhere from like 10,000 plus.
Okay.
So I like looking at a 5-figure offer, and it's also going to depend on timing because some people will say they have a 5-figure offer, but then it's over the span of like a year or 3 years. It's like, well,
3 years.
There's some people who have, 3 years.
They have 3-year offers?
Yeah, I've seen it. And so if you break down like the actual time that's involved and really what you're offering, it's really not premium. It's really not high ticket. So that's really the first thing that I look at. And so when I have the conversation with clients, usually the first thing that we're doing is we're stair-stepping them from whatever price they choose at the start. So I never force anyone to say, okay, you need to price it here or there. Most of the clients that come in to start working with me, they're usually at like $1,500, $2,500. And so our first thing is the easy thing is like double their rates. And, you know, there's a lot, you know, a couple things that we do around that, but it's trying to get them to at least like that $5,000 mark for not a 12-month program, for something that's, you know, a very distinct short-term transformation.
And so when you have the conversation, because this is a very popular conversation, it's like charge your worth, double your prices today. And like you said, we can slap a $100,000 price tag on a Honda. That does not make it a Bentley. That does not turn it, like transform it into something that it's not just because you've put this price tag on it. So what is the other part of that conversation that I know you have, you know, the other part of your conversation with your clients, but for the sake of the people who don't necessarily have you as a coach yet, what do you say on the other side of that? How do you validate this doubled price? So what do you advise?
So the first thing that we do is make sure we're splitting the concept of the pricing and the investment from their worth. Okay. So I will never tell my clients charge what you're worth because they can never afford you. Exactly. You get to receive money as a result of your energy, your expectation, and your vibration. That's it. Some people expect more, some people expect less. Some people vibrate at different levels and other people vibrate. So you get to receive. You're never charging what you're worth, you're always charging what your services are worth. So when you think about that, you're like, okay, what is this service actually worth? What result is it bringing to the client? What's the transformation? How does their life change? What other areas are affected by this? So we go through this entire process to really determine what are the tangible changes and outcomes, what are the intangible changes and outcomes. And once they go through that exercise, they're like, wow,
I really got something here.
Yeah, this could be like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I'm like, okay, great. So would you be okay charging $5,000 for it? They're like, yeah, that's only 10% of it. So, you know, really once you go through it and really determine like what is the service actually worth, you can get better at pricing it.
So, okay, part one, you need to increase your prices. Part two, let's really look at the transformation we're providing and see what the value is that we can attach to that. Part three is the mindset, because it could sound all good all day.
Yeah.
And then you get on the phone with somebody.
And you change it.
And baby, it's 500. It's whatever I think you're going to say yes to. I'm immediately questioning myself, especially that first conversation. It's like, girl, I'm still trying to convince myself that I can even say this number. So how do you coach your clients through that process?
Yeah. So the first thing that we really look at is dive deep into their why. Because a lot of times, especially women, we'll do things for other people before we do them for ourselves. So we always have a conversation around what's your why? And often they'll say something like, well, I want to show my kids it's possible, or I want to, do this for my family, or I want to, like, there's, any XYZ number of reasons. So once they get clear on that, it's like, okay, now there's something outside of myself that I can kind of hang my hat on that, and then I can be okay presenting this price. And so we get deep into the why, then we get deep into, okay, what is your true message? Like, you're here to deliver a message. So what's that message? If you only had a couple of words to tell to your client, like, what would you tell them, regardless of the money, regardless of the pricing, and is that valuable? And, these conversations are obviously why we have continued coaching and conversations over and over again, because it's like these little subconscious blocks that come up during that process. And the reason why, they might have one price in their head, and then when they go to say it, they'll say something else. And it's like, well, you changed it at the last second because there was some mental conversation that was going on. What was that conversation? And then we can kind of pinpoint it on that.
And we've had the conversation several times here on the show about imposter syndrome, and just that 100%, I think that's a woman thing. Because these men, I mean, they will have half of the skills charging triple the price without hesitation. Like, without hesitation. And will look at you like you crazy if you look at them like they're crazy. We're the other way around. We have all of the skills and none of the confidence behind it. Like, we can do all of the things. We can hype other people up. We can sit on the sideline and cheer for all of our homegirls. But when they give us the ball, we start looking around like, but wait a minute. I'm not made for this, so I can't do it. Yeah, I don't belong here. And so I think that we do ourselves such a disservice when we do not understand our worth, and then are able to communicate it. And this spans personal stuff, professional stuff, because the same way you show up on that coaching, on the sales call, it's probably the same way you're going to show up on the first date, not understanding your worth, not really being able to communicate what you desire, even though it's not a price tag, but these are the requirements, to be in a relationship with me, or to, be in my presence. It translates. So we got to do better. Y'all need therapy. We need therapy. We all need therapy. I'm an advocate for therapy, okay? Because it could literally be stopping you from your money. And your man, okay? So get it together. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about your, I think you have a 4-step framework I saw about that you work with your clients on. And we don't want to give them all the game because y'all do have to go to her website, check it out for yourself. But can you talk a little bit about your specific coaching style? Because high ticket is a pretty popular concept. Everybody has their own definition. Everybody has their own kind of methodology. What's your special sauce when it comes to high ticket?
So a lot of it goes into that assume the throne process. So assuming the throne is about recognizing that you've done enough, you are enough, and it's time for you to step up. It's time for you to step into that next level version of yourself. So the first thing that we do in that is we actually declare and decree, like, this is what I want, and this is why I deserve it, and this is what I desire, period. And it's essentially like creating a proclamation, as if you were a king, queen, like creating that proclamation. And then the second thing that we do from there is we start looking at filling your court. Okay, so it's like, okay, who do I need in my corner? Who are the people who are gonna be there for me, who are gonna be able to support me and be part of that process? And then from there, we go into, just really helping you assume the throne. Like, what are the day-to-day things that you need to do? What are the pieces and things that you need to put in place so that you're ready to do this on a daily basis? Is it about getting featured? Is it about, bringing certain team members on? Like, what support do you need in order for you to really step into that queen nature of yourself, or that king nature of yourself?
Do you work with men?
I do also.
Okay.
I have men in my audience.
Girl, I would be like, sorry, fellas, just watch the podcast. That's all I got for you. I'm sorry, that's all I got for you. But okay, put that out there. You work with men and women, so men, you can assume the throne also. Even though y'all be on that throne, y'all don't be struggling like we be struggling, but we gonna get it together. Letitia's gonna get us together. What would you say separates you from other coaches?
That's a great question. So before I answer it, I had someone ask me that question several years ago, and I couldn't answer it. And I remember getting frustrated because I couldn't answer it, because I was like, well, I'm different just because I'm different.
You know it,
right? And so, a lot of times people do have issues with that question. So I guess I kind of want to give a little bit of coaching before I even answer it, which is you're you're special because you're you. And I know that kind of seems like a, you know, it could be like a woo-woo,
like
whatever.
rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah, but like the reason that someone will work with me versus working with someone else who literally might do the same thing is because they're coming for Letitia. Like they're coming for that essence. They're coming for the thing that they can get from me that they can't get from anybody else. So I will say that as a little bit of coaching. But as far as like what's my unique selling proposition, like what makes me unique is the fact that I don't just look at the practical. I don't just look at, okay, here are the things we need to put in place for your marketing. Like I'm always looking at what's underneath the surface. What are the subconscious blocks that are going to prevent you from doing the thing that you said you wanted to do? Like what is underneath the surface, and how can we work on those things so you can have success not just in this, but also whatever else you want to do? Because with my clients, I really want to look at all areas of their life. A lot of clients come to me for money, they come to me for business, but like I want to look at other stuff too because it all matters. And I don't know if we're going to have a conversation about this, but part of what allowed me to enjoy like one of the highest revenue months in my business was the fact that I did a fitness competition. That has nothing to do with business, but because I was taking care of another area of my life that was really important to me, it allowed me to expand in my business and, you know, with that as well.
1,000%. We try to disconnect the things, but as you were speaking, I'm like, girl, are you a life coach?
Yeah.
Are you a business coach? But like you said, it is, because you can have it all together. You can have the blueprint for this business. But baby, if that man start cutting up, if something happens with one of your kids, if something happens with a parent, if something happens personally in your life, it's going to impact your life, the entire life, especially if you are an entrepreneur. And I think for women, it's so easy to think of times that we were in like a bad relationship and literally everything we touched seems to like just it wasn't working out because of this thing we were dealing with. And so like you said, you can't disconnect it, not with women at least, because we are emotional. So if we're sad because something's going on over here, it's gonna spill into our business. There's like no way around it. So I love that you mentioned that. And what I was thinking that was unique about you, which is kind of what you said when I asked you about the money, and you said, well, first of all, money is spiritual. That to me is unique because there are so many coaches that you know are not necessarily by the book, but they want to only focus on the business part of it. They don't want to mention God. They don't want to talk about spirituality. They don't want to talk about the fact that money is energy. You know, all of the things. So I think. I think it's a whole lot that you're bringing that's special.
I learned that really early on because one of the very first clients that I had, we went directly into how to. We went into the practical. And I got my feelings hurt because I saw her working with another coach a little bit later. And I remember reaching out to her and I asked her, and she said, well, I don't even want to do the thing that you and I were working on. I realized that I actually have a passion for this other thing. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, well, I didn't even ask you what you wanted to do. You came to me and said, this is what you want to do. So I said, okay, let's go. And now I've learned from that, I don't do that. We actually have a conversation like, is this actually what you want to do? And we talk more holistically because otherwise you'll see the clients, they're working with someone else who does understand that level. So.
I have quit coaching so many times. I have a mentorship program right now, which, what's the difference? I couldn't tell you. I feel like I'm still back doing the same thing, but it's draining. And it's draining and it's frustrating. The drain is, I really care about you, so I really want to help you, sometimes more than you want to help yourself. And I can't do certain things for myself because I'm focused on trying to help you. How do you balance that part of it? Like, how do you still build your business when you have, and I don't know what your capacity is for the clients, but you have 5, 10 other people who you're working to build their businesses too?
So I'm an empath, and I'm all about, I'm giving back the energy that I'm feeding off of. So for example, my one-on-one clients, which I usually take on like 3 to 4 one-on-one clients at a time, those interactions always light me up because we're always like, they're like, hey, let's go, let's do it. And it's very exciting. And so what I've had to do is I just create different containers. So I've got my one-on-one container, which is like full energy exchange. Then I have my group container, which is a different type of energy exchange. And I'm still there, but there's still a little bit of distance because you can't want it more for someone than they want it for themselves. And you'll notice, and I'm sure for those of you who have been in group programs, people will notice that there are certain people who don't show up. There's certain people who do show up. There's certain people who are, everyone has their own flow, which is fine. but there's just different containers for everything. And then obviously I have like DIY, like courses and things like that for people who just give me the information. I want to make passive income, you know, whatever.
Just give it up.
Yeah, just here
Okay,
you go.
so you don't drive yourself crazy because you put people into different containers.
Exactly.
You have figured it out, girl. Okay, got you. So I do want to talk about your course. We linked it down below for the people. Look into this camera right here and let them know like what they can expect from the course. I know this little baby is a part of what you have, but let them know what they can look for.
Yeah, sure. So the 7-Figure Messenger 3-day intensive is a live program. It's a 3-day live program, and essentially it's virtual. But essentially what we do is we go into determining what do you actually desire. So every client gets a copy of Dream, Decide, Do, which is my manifestation goal planner, and it's really like setting the foundation of what do you desire and what do you want in your life and how does that show up. So we start with kind of going below the surface. And then the next thing that we do on day 2 is we really talk about monetizing like the 7-Figure Messenger. I call it the 7-Figure Messenger, regardless of what your financial goal is, because if you have a clear message, the money gets to come as a result of you stepping out there and walking out your purpose and stepping into your calling. And then on the final day, we really bring it all together, help you assume the throne, step into that new identity, and it's really good feels, it's really good vibes. It's one of my favorite programs, and I'm really excited to deliver it. So I'd love to have you in it if it calls to you.
Yes. Down below, I will link it. But even if that's not the one for you, go to her website. I was on that thing. You have a tab that's like tech and tools.
Yeah.
I was all down that page. Like, okay, great resources. Okay, regardless, like something is gonna, feel good for you when you check out her website. She's good vibes, y'all. I'm feeling the vibes. Okay, so if you are a spirit-led person, and you have to feel people out, definitely log on, check her out. If something that she said during this conversation moves you, check your girl out. I want to say you have some affordable things. I know there's a ladder, because you ain't the high ticket coach if you ain't high ticket, okay? So we know she got some luxury on there as well, but she has something for everybody. So get in where you fit in based on your level of comfort right now, which is usually how people start investing, to kind of try you out, see your flow, see how it feels. But I think that y'all are going to love it, and I can't wait to hear from you how your mindset has changed, how you have started to figure out your messaging, and how you're starting to assume the throne and put some respect on your own name, okay? Letitia, I have enjoyed this conversation. I appreciate the help that you didn't even know that you were giving me today as well as last night, because I did pick up some gems on your website.
Awesome.
And y'all, I'm going to be doing these business spotlight interviews all season long. So if you're interested in coming down to the studio or connecting virtually for an interview so that you can promote your Black-owned, woman-owned, either or both business, then definitely hit us up, girlstopplayin.com. Make sure y'all follow Letitia on Instagram at Letitia Styles. Anything else that they need to know, you can look right in that camera and let them know.
That's it. If you want to come cheer me on, I'll be doing a fitness competition in May.
Yes. Wait, let's talk about the fitness competition.
Yeah.
Tell us what in the world. When I see y'all doing this stuff, the 5Ks, the fitness competition, I'm like, that look real good. But girl, what was the motivation? I cannot.
My motivation was, I knew I wanted to get the body that I wanted along with the business that I wanted.
Okay.
And so my 3 things was I wanted a business, a booty, and a boo.
Okay.
And
okay.
So I got all 3.
Okay. High five, all 3. Yes. But the fitness competition unlocked this for you?
Yeah, that did. And I did my first one in 2020. So I'll be doing my 3rd one in May. It's going to be in LA. And I'm really excited about it.
So you got a boo that's all... He in the competition too?
Well, he doesn't compete.
Okay.
He's
but
like,
you learned him
on
during the
stage,
journey.
No,
I mean, you met him during the journey.
No,
or no,
no. I met him before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We've been together for a while. He cheers me on. He's excited about it. He wouldn't get on stage.
He's like, no,
yeah.
but yes. I love that for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So LA, May.
Yeah.
Is there a way to like watch virtually, or you just have to be there?
You can go to WBFFshows.com, and I'm sure we can put the link in the show notes so they can go watch it like pay-per-view. But yeah, I'll be in there. I love
that. You'll be in that thing. Well, congratulations in advance. Good luck to you, and make sure y'all are following her at Letitia Styles on Instagram, because I'm sure you'll keep us posted there.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you. I enjoyed you, and y'all, like this video, comment below, let me know something that you learned, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any bomb content. See you on the next episode.